Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. In this video, we are going to make an interesting app which is a nationality predictor. So this app is basically you just enter the name of any person and this app will guess from where that person belongs or what is his nationality. Okay, so like for example, if I just give you a demo, let's say John. If I search for John, you can check it. It looks like John must be from United States. This is the prediction. Now let's try somebody else. Let's say I take my name, and if I try it, it says Shibu must be from India. So this is what we are going to build today. So again, as usual, we are going to split this into two parts. The first part, we are going to design the UI using Tailwind CSS, followed by creating the app using Vue.js and React.js at the same time. Okay, so let's begin. So we'll start with the so before I start with the design part, so I have created an empty folder, and on this folder, I'm going to start with a file, let's say index.html with a little bit of boilerplate code. And let's call the app Nationality Predictor. Okay, so that is going to be our app. Now, since we are going to design this using Tailwind, let's include Tailwind. I have already set up a code snippet for this, so we can I will be using it. So if anybody is not aware how to set up code snippets, then you can check my video that is there in the description. So once that is done, let's add an h1 tag just to check everything is working. So I have installed live server so that we can instantaneously see the changes that we are making. So let's run that, right click and open with live server, and that should give me my app, right? So let's minimize that to the side, and let's minimize this onto this side, and let's arrange it side by side. Okay, perfect. So now we have our UI setup. So now hello is visible, so that is good. Now let me just zoom out a little. I am already zoomed in 175%. Let me zoom out. Okay, so this is how it is looking, my h1 tag. Perfect. So this shows that Tailwind CSS is working. Okay, so let's begin. So the way this app is going to be built is, if you check, there are three states to this app. The first state is the input state. Okay, so this is the input. The second state, because this app is going to use an external API, so the API response may take a little while. So we need a loading sort of a window. So that will be the second state. And the third frame, or basically I should not call it state, but it is the frame. So the third frame is the actual result frame. Okay, so let me just go through it quickly. So if I this is the first frame. If I press the country button, this is the loading frame, and this is the result frame. So we have to design three frames, but in all the three frames, this header is the same. Okay, so we will keep the header same. So let's start designing it. So we will start with a div which encloses the entire app, then followed by another div which encloses the header part. The header part is going to be let's say start with an h1 tag which is going to be nationality predictor. Let's copy and paste that. Then we also have a paragraph below it which is going to have enter the name So this is the text that is going to be there. So this is my first div. Now the second div is going to depend on which stage we are in, right? So let's go to the initial stage. So this is the first stage. So in this first stage, we are going to have an input element and followed by a button, right? So let's add that. So input, so I will be needing an input element, right? And followed by a button, and the button name is country. That's it. So this is going to be my UI, that is for step 1. Okay, then I will be having another div which is going to be the div for my loading phase. So for the loading phase, what I need is I will need an image. That image will be probably an SVG or something, right? So we will have to look into that, or maybe we will have an SVG. Let's take an SVG. Yeah, so we will take an SVG. Let's go to hero icons, and from hero image I will take the refresh SVG. I will paste that over here, and below that I will have a paragraph tag called predicting. Okay, so that will be my second step, and the third step is going to be my actual result. So if I request this, you can see this is going to be my result, right? So for this result, this div is going to have a background, then after that there is going to be an, let's say, h2 tag, which is going to be something like this, and over here there will be a span tag which will be bold probably, okay, because that part is going to be bold. And after that there will be an h1 tag which will house the country name, okay, and then I need an image. So let's save this image for the time being. Let's say save image as. So let's save this image in our folder, and I can then use that as a placeholder over here. In the actual app, this will be coming from the API, but for our design part, we are going to use this. And after that, we are going to have a simple, let's say, a div, and inside that we will have let's say another div which is going to have a probability. Okay, so the probability of how perfect the result is. Okay, so this is what we have. Okay, so this is our design, sorry, this is our elements, HTML elements. Now we start designing the interface. Okay, so let's have a look at this and let's start designing. So first we will start with the body. So let's add a class of bg so blue. Now again, whenever you start with Tailwind CSS, if you want to have a little bit of hinting, type hinting or auto completion, then you should install this extension, that is Tailwind CSS IntelliSense. Okay, so this extension, and this extension requires one config file to be created so that it can understand what is the auto completion to be done. Okay, so I will create that file, and inside this file I will go to Tailwind CSS documentation, and in the in this page you can see what is to be written inside this file. Okay, so I will copy and paste that, and that's it for that. And here only thing I would like to change is in the content, instead of src, there is no src in our setup, so it is directly this. I can remove that src, and that's it. So this is going to be my Tailwind config. Now we can start typing and seeing the results. Okay, so let's say bg, and I think it is blue and it is 500. Let's see, let's go one more, 600. Yeah, so I think it is indigo, not indigo 600. Okay, so this is my going to be my color for my theme. So let's get that color. Now next I want everything to be centered, so I will say justify center, and also vertically centered, so I will say items center. Now to have the effect of item center, I should have a height, so height equal to screen, and that should give me my this thing. But now this everything works only if it's a flex box, so I forgot that. So let's add flex, and there you go. So now I have my things coming in place, right? So that is good. Now next we will go to the container, the main container, and here let's give it a class, and let's say the width is full. Okay, we will have a full width app, but we will have a little bit of margin on both sides. So let's give it a little bit of breathing space on both the sides, left and right, and I think that is it. So that is done. Now let's come over here, and at this place we have to give, this is our app title, right? So here we will give it a class, and let's first do text center so that it comes to the center. Then I need to have a white font. Then I also need font bold. Then I also need uppercase. It is already uppercase, but still I would like to have it uppercase by chance in future. Then text, I want the size text of, let's say, 4XL. Let's see what is the size. Okay, I think 5XL will do. Yeah, 5XL is better. And now that is it for my paragraph. Sorry, that is it for my heading. Now let's deal with the paragraph. So for paragraph, first of all, I will do text gray, let's say 300, so that it's a light white color. Then I want margin on both sides of, let's say, 6, and also text center. Okay, so that is looking good. Next I want a little gap on the top, margin top of 2. Yeah, so this is looking better, and I want margin bottom of, let's say, 5, or in fact 8. Okay, so I want a little gap, so that just to show that this is a different thing. Okay, cool. So that is done. Now we are ready to style our each and every section or frame. Okay, so what I do is first, so these are my 3 different sections, right? So out of these 3, only one is shown at any given point of time. So what I will do is I will style it one by one. So to do that, what I can do is I can give class. Okay, just a minute. So just let me add multiple cursors to my screen, then add class, and here I will just say hidden. So by hidden, what it does is it just hides everything out. So now only the things which you want to show that you can enable. Okay, so first we will start with the form. So let's start with the form. So the form, the classes that we are going to apply for the form is going to be pretty simple. It is going to be flex. Okay, and as soon as I do flex, it will come side by side, but I don't want that. I want flex column. So now it will come one below the other. Then let's now style the text box. Now for the text box, I'm happy that if it spans the entire width, but I don't want it to span completely. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say width of 1/2, so half the width of whatever is there. And then I would like to align everything, so I will use items center, so that way it will align to the center. Then once that is done, now I will set the size. So let's set the size of the text, let's call it XL, or maybe 3XL. Let's give it the size of 3XL, and let's give it a default value to style that also. So let's give it a value, let's say Shibu. Okay, that is done. Let's give it a little padding. So padding of X of, let's say, 5. Okay, and padding of Y of 2. Okay, that is looking good. Now I also need rounded medium. Okay, medium rounded, that is okay. Now that is it, I think, for this. Now I will add a little margin bottom, or I can actually use gap also, it doesn't matter. So gap, let's give it a gap. And next, now we will style the button. So let's style that. So for the class, I will have let's see what is the style. So it's a outlined border, right? So we will only have a border. Okay, so we will have a border. Then I have rounded full, that gives me enough space. I want a text to be white color. Then I also need the border to be white, so let's do that, border white. Okay, then if once that is done, let's increase the size of the font. So text 3XL. Okay, and let's give padding X of 3. I think 5 will do. Yeah, and padding of Y of 3 will do. Yeah, perfect. So this is going to be my button. Now I can increase the gap a little more. Let's make it 6. And now for the button, when it is hovering over it, I want a different color. So let me copy this and paste it. And when it hovers, I want it to be reverse. So when I say reverse, it means, so the text should be sorry, the background will be blue. Okay, or sorry, white. So not the border, it should be BG, and white. So when I hover, the BG will be white and the text should be, I suppose, blue 800. Okay, so that is what my button will look like. Okay, now that is fine. Now I'm not happy with this, so let me change this to 8 by 12 so that it becomes a little bigger. Okay, so this is going to be my form for the first section. Now let's hide this and go to the next section. Okay, so let's add hidden. Okay, so that is hidden. Now we can style the other one. So the other one, it is looking very simple. It is saying predicting. So first let us make this flex, and we will make this flex call, and we will say justify center and items center. Okay, so that is in the center. Now let's increase the size of the image that is there. So I have increased the height and width of the image, and now I want to change the color. So for that I will just say text white, and that should change the color of the image. Okay, and finally now I want this this to animate. So for that I can just add animate spin to this, and that should spin the SVG. Cool. So now once that is done, now I just have to worry about the this predicting text. So I will just increase the size a little. Yeah, so that is fine. Predicting, I think so this is perfect for the second step. Now the third step is the result part. So let's save this and let's bring this in. So this is the last part. So again, here also it is going to be, first let us give a background of white to this. Perfect. And it is going to be rounded XL. Then it also needs a little padding all around. Okay, and it is going to be flex, and it is going to be flex call. Okay, cool. So now I want everything to be center. Okay, so now it is looking much better. Now let's start styling this. So let's look at the H2 first. So for H2, the first thing that I do is increase the size to XL, and the span should have font bold. Okay, so that is the first thing that I do. And next I will have a margin bottom of a little gap. Then I will style the country. So for country, I will have a very big font. So let's say 6XL. So that is going to be the country. I think 6 is too big. Let's take 5XL. Yeah, 5 is fine. And I want the font to be bold. Perfect. And it needs to be italic. Perfect. And I also want this to be italic. Yeah, perfect. So now I want there to be a bottom margin of, let's say, 5. Okay, that is done. Now let's style the image. So let's style the image. First of all, I need a rounded rounded XL. So now the image is rounded, and I don't want the width to be very big, so I will make the width to be half the original, and I think that is it. So that will be the design, and I can add an alt, let's say India. That's it. So that will be our result. Then next I will have to design this. So let's design it. So it is going to be BG Indie Indigo 800, or I think 600 will do. Yeah, 600, and there will be a padding X of 3 and padding Y of 2. I think padding Y of 1 is fine. Yeah. And margin top of 6. Perfect. And I need a rounded full. And there you go. Now I also need text white and font bold. Okay, perfect. So that is my design. Now there is one more thing left, that is the close button. That will help us to close or come back to the first page. So let's add that. So for that I will just do a div, and inside this we will add a SVG. So we will take the delete button from here. So we can take this, copy, and we will paste that over here, and let's see how does it look. So it came over here, so we can position it according to our needs. So for that we can do absolute. So this is going to be absolutely position, and this I'm going to make it relative, so that I can position it based on this container. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just say top 0. So that brings it over there, and then right 0. That brings it to this side. But now I can adjust it according to our needs. So let's bring it or maybe 3. Yeah, and top I can bring it 3 down. Perfect. Okay, and now I can change the color to be text gray 500 maybe, and that is it. So that will be my that is going to be my final design. So that's it. We have completed our design. Now we will just look at the responsive behavior of this, and then we will finish it off. So if I increase it, now this is a bit of a problem because it is just expanding. So we don't want that. So let's move on to the container where we have written W full and give it a max width of, let's say, 2xl. Okay, it will not go above 2xl. So now let's increase. This is perfect. So this goes up to this size, and after that it stops. Perfect. So this is going to be our final design. So let's quickly check the 3 states, or in fact let's look at all the 3 states together. Okay, so this is the 3 states that we have designed. The first state is the form, the second one is this predicting or loading state, and the third one is the result state. Okay, so that is it. This is our design for the app. Now in the next video, we will make this work using React.js and Vue.js.